My dream man and our dream home. Desire, relationship and the house. Time frame, 2 years. The year 2008 was a big year for big decisions and even bigger goals. This was the year I separated from my husband of 16 years, started to find myself again, and decided what I was going to do with my life to give my 2 boys the best life possible. It was in 2009 that things actually started to come together. I am a big believer in what you believe you can achieve, as long as you are prepared to wait for things to happen exactly when they are meant to. The key to getting what you want is repetition. At the beginning of 2009, I wrote down my goals with no clear way of knowing how they would be achieved. My list looked like this. 1. To give my boys security, our own home by April 2011. 2. To be happy with someone who loves me for who I am, a partner who I can share my dreams with, and most importantly, respects me and gets on well with my boys. Number 2. Didn't have a date on it because I felt that I needed time with my boys as a family. And if I were to meet someone, it would happen when it was supposed to happen. 3. Dream job, helping people. 4. Be brave, believe that I can achieve anything, and have the faith that all would arrive at the exact moment that it needed to. For the first time in a long time, I felt happy and contented. Everything seemed to just flow. I had a job I enjoyed with flexibility. My bills were always paid on time, and my boys always had food on the table. The only thing that was always at the front of my mind was the fact that I was renting and paying for someone else's lifestyle. Every Friday when the paper arrived, it was the real estate pages that I would be first read without fail. I had recently reread The Secret, the most amazing book on the law of attraction. So I decided to follow a few little exercises. Not only does this make me feel good, it gave me hope. I purchased a gratitude journal and started writing down all the wonderful things in my life I was grateful for. My family, my 2 boys, and the fact that we had a roof over our heads, that we had somewhere to come home to. I didn't focus on the fact that the house was old. The curtains were not to my taste. And we had green carpet. For now, this was our home. I had enough money each week to pay the rent, and for that, I was really grateful. In my gratitude journal, there was also a gratitude intention page. So here, you give thanks to all the wonderful things that haven't happened yet. This is where you get really creative, writing everything you desire in present tense, as though it has already happened, just like this. I am so grateful to have my new partner in my life. He is wonderful, and a wonderful man whom my kids adore. We are all so happy. I am so excited to be living in our dream home. We have plenty of room, 4 bedrooms, a study, 2 bathrooms, 2 lounge, and we live in a great street with a lovely outlook. My boys are so excited because now we are not renting and we finally have a dog that they have always wanted. I made sure I wrote in my gratitude journal every week, and I also started collecting pictures of houses with features that I loved. The feeling that went with this and doing this was amazing. The best term I can use to describe this is a warm fuzziness. While declaring my desires to the universe of what I wanted in a house, I was also giving gratitude to my future partner with words like, I am so grateful to have a wonderful man in my life, a man who is strong emotionally, knows what he wants, and unconditionally loves my kids. Thank you for this man who has old-fashioned values and isn't afraid to speak his mind. Thank you for this man who treats me the way I want to be treated, with love and respect. I also did a few other things that came from The Secret. I cleared out one side of my wardrobe and I decided to switch sides on the bed. This helps to make room for a partner, so my wardrobe was clear on one side and I was no longer sleeping all over the bed. There was room for someone else to sleep. I was diligent in all these tasks. I knew that everything would happen in the perfect time, but in what order, I had no idea. It was in March 2009, when I was on a social media site, keeping in touch with a friend, that I first noticed Keith. This is where friends communicate, but other people can see your profile pictures and add you as a friend. I can't exactly remember who added whom, but however, the one thing I do remember was thinking, he has really kind eyes. Well, that was it. I eventually decided that I didn't really like this social media site, and I started deleting people as preparation for leaving it. However, every time I got to Keith, even though we had never spoken, I couldn't delete him, so I stayed a little longer. Then one day, out of the blue, there was a message. Hello. To my surprise, it was from Keith. I returned a hello and we began chatting to each other via our computers. I found that we had plenty in common. Even our marriages ended in the same year. This continued for a few months, and then one day I got really brave and decided to ask him if I could call, as chatting on the computer was so impersonal. Luckily, he said yes. I think that was about July when we first spoke. It was so good to hear his voice, and it honestly felt like we had known each other a lifetime. Life happily continued. Keith and I were in regular contact as he lived about 5 hours away in Canberra. I was on the Central Coast. I continued my dream house in my gratitude book. However, it wasn't at the forefront of my mind as much as Keith was. In September, Keith went to England to visit his family. He had immigrated to Australia in 1989 with his young family. He was gone for 8 weeks, and even though we had not yet met, it was a very long 8 weeks. However, I did get an email every single day, which I did look so forward to. During the course of his holiday, we both decided that it was about time we met. So when he got back, we did, and finally met in November 2009. The rest is history. We had a long-distance relationship which worked. However, it was challenging at the same time. We both did plenty of travelling back and forth. Keith was also retrenched from his job during this time, and I just took it as another sign from the universe to take a leap of faith. So I suggested he apply for a job in the Central Coast, and if it was meant to be, it would be. So he applied for one job and actually got it. So in April 2011, Keith moved in with me and my boys. They both approved and got on very well with him. We didn't just have Keith, we also got his gorgeous dog, Mikey. My landlord approved us to have Mikey, and my boys were so happy as they now have had their dog too that they always wanted. Going back to my goals, I reflected that the one goal I didn't put a date on actually happened before the one that I did have a date. However, the funny thing was that I did have something significant happen in April 2011. So this got me thinking, I wonder where I will be in April 2012. When you ask the universe for something, be prepared for surprises. Sometimes you just don't know how your wishes are going to be granted or in what order. I'm going to fast forward now to January 2012. Keith and I started discussing the possibility of buying a house together. You see, I still continued my Friday ritual of reading the real estate pages cover to cover. The only difference was that Keith was doing this with me. In February, we saw a finance broker and found out exactly how much money we could borrow to buy our own home. This was a very exciting time. We looked at a few houses but just couldn't pinpoint that perfect house. One Friday, while doing my usual reading the real estate pages, I actually found a house that sounded perfect and looked fantastic in the photos, and it was within our price range. So off we went. Unfortunately, the advert was a little misleading, and there was absolutely no room for negotiation by the owner. Plus, the yard was way too small for our gorgeous dog, Mikey. I was a little disappointed. However, as we were leaving the property, I noticed the house next door was also for sale. When I looked at it, I got butterflies in my stomach. I couldn't wait to get home and look it up on the internet real estate pages. To my delight, this house had everything on my wish list. The pictures were just gorgeous. My mind was already working overtime, deciding where our furniture would go, until I looked at the price. It was $20,000 over our budget. My heart just sank, as I really felt that this was the house Keith and I would buy together. I visited that site on the internet daily just to look and ponder. I was just drawn to this house to the point where I would say, I am home. This is our home. The house was only 1 kilometer away from where we live, so I just made a point of driving past it. I stopped and looked at it, just the outside. I could see us all living there so happily. It was about 2 weeks after that I first laid eyes on this house, and I visited my favorite real estate pages. I couldn't believe it. My heart was racing. The price had been reduced by $20,000. Oh my goodness, this could be a reality. So I rang the agent and made an appointment. Keith and I took my youngest son, as my oldest son was away with the Army Reserves. We parked out the front to wait for the agent to turn up. I was so excited. I already felt like I knew every room in this house, and I couldn't wait to go inside. As soon as we stepped through the front door, it just felt right. And I hadn't even seen the rest of the house. As we moved through each room, I got more and more excited. This house just ticked every box. It had everything on my wish list. Even the outdoor area is perfect, with enough room for our outdoor setting and barbecue, and enough room for Mikey to be very comfortable. My darling man kept very cool throughout this process, and my little man ran straight upstairs and declared, I found my room. And it was way bigger than the one I have now. The boys would have had their own lounge room, and Keith and I would have our own space upstairs. The main bedroom was a very generous size, with a walk-in wardrobe, and there was also a very nice bathroom for us upstairs as well. I was also very excited that we had a study. Everything about this house was just perfect. I had been living and breathing this house for what seemed to be an eternity, and I just wanted to say, we'll take it. However, my cool, calm man stopped me. We really had to play the game. Went back the next week when my eldest son returned home, and he decided which room he might like if this were to become our home. We spoke more to the agent this time and were informed that the owner had purchased elsewhere and had turned down an offer the week before. The offer was way below the new asking price, so we went home and decided what we were going to offer. We put in an offer of what we thought was a realistic price, and the agent said he would be in touch. The next day, the agent called. We did a last-minute negotiation, and our offer price was accepted at $8,000 below the asking price in the paper and well within our budget. This day was actually Valentine's Day, and we had the best Valentine's Day present ever. This is our dream home. We absolutely love it here. I need to tell you, the very best part, this house had every single thing that was on my original 2008 wish list. And we moved into our home on the 2nd of April 2012. You see, the universe did answer my wish, still delivered in April, just a year later. So my tips for manifesting your big goals are: 1. Be specific, very specific, and be detailed. The universe loves detail. 2. Believe, and believe that your wish will be granted. 3. Be persistent and consistent. 4. Spend time every day on your desires. 5. Focus on the feeling that your desires give you. Remember the warm fuzzies? 6. Visualize your desire as you already have it. 7. Gratitude now. What you are grateful for now. 8. Gratitude intentions. Grateful for the things that are on their way. Remember to write these as though it has happened. 9. Fall in love with all these processes. And 10. Be prepared for your wishes to be delivered in unexpected ways. Happy manifesting. I hope you enjoyed my story. Carol Johnson can be contacted on www.caroljohnson.com.au.